Though Grayson had stopped the Earth Mover, it was too late. Chimera forces were already alerted to the Maquis presence in Luxembourg. Plans for our assault on the Paris Tower were nearing completion when the Chimera struck. Our escape routes cut off by their machines and drones, we were forced to use our last VTOLs to evacuate to the only remaining safe zone, a refugee camp which the Chimera had not yet discovered. It was imperative that the Maquis research into the Chimera conversion process done by men like Bouchard's father not be lost. Founded in 1939, the Military Defense Commission's primary goal was to research the Chimera and find a weapon that could destroy them. Based on his ongoing research, Dr. Claude Bouchard felt that
the father of the one who bails us out.
A serum that could prevent the Chimera from converting humans. But if Luxembourg fell before the evacuation was complete, his research would be lost.
Alright, let's see. You okay, Grayson?
Mission briefing.
Later, Dwibs. For introduction to specific regions, we do get a more lengthy cutscene. Of course, Cartwright is once again on the jeep.
Not bad for a deserter. And a frog.
One time!
French, am I right?
Alright, next one. This work site is a close...
To your mom. Go on, Dwibs.
For 2 years, the Maquis have been living inside the casemate tunnels beneath Luxembourg. Destroying the Rotterdam guns, the bomb facility, and the earth movers have gotten the Chimera's attention, like using a grenade to stir up a hornet's nest. Only this nest is the size of Europe. A hellstorm of Chimera is bearing down on the Luxembourg fortress, and there is no way to defend it. The Royal Marines will try to slow the Chimera assault long enough for the Maquis to evacuate the refugees.
If you also noticed, after the events of Boone, James Grayson stops being labeled as, Maquis mercenary and just mercenary zone. That's a neat touch.
I can't hear you, Parker. Come again? The reception's piss poor down here.
Bollocks.
Aircraft are having trouble lifting off.
I'm getting too old for this.
That doesn't sound good.
It sounds bloody unpleasant.
I love Cartwright.
Oh yes, it's good to have him back.
Fuck. It's the big guy from started introducing Resistance 2. Although if I recall correctly, this one doesn't have... oh no, it does have still, heavy weapons. Although it's still a bit more manageable.
He looks like he's part machine.
Again, remember, the one on his back is the cooling system. The bigger the Chimera, the bigger that is. The ones that did not have it are the more feral ones, like the Widowmaker, and those were more of an exception. Yeah, thankfully... What the fuck? Bless be the ragdoll. Thankfully, the heavy weapons Chimeras don't seem to be as resilient as they were in the Insomnia games. Again, that seems to be a common thing throughout the spin-off. The Chimeras that were too much spongy, in the Insomnia games, tend to be more, doable in terms of, hit points. So I'm perfectly okay with that. Cartwright, a hand will be appreciated. Stop to be in the corner, being British.
Aren't we all British?
And yeah, you can notice these are, more heavy version of the hybrids that are packing the Bullseye Mark II. Okay, that was already dead, the Cartwright. Jeez. Alright, another QT to close the door.
Wonderful. Well done. Literal buggers.
Cartwright, you're breaking up.
Parker.
I like how the Leaper kind of escaped your field of grasp, so it made it look like Grayson was literally trying to choke the air.
Yeah. And even in general, you notice maybe with the grab attack, they will literally catch you even if the hitbox seem to start on a completely different direction. It's kind of like I'm playing Dark Souls 2 again.
Yeah, Leapers definitely seem like they can be the scrappy enemies of this game.
More like demonic spiders, like I said.
Much, yeah.
Or no, I guess the term is goddamn bats for these ones.
Yeah. I believe demonic spiders are used for more like the heavy hitters, whereas the bats are
more
used
like
for
more like the enemies that don't seem to be too much of a problem, like they're regular, but they're surprisingly packing a punch.
Bloody frogs won't open the door, huh?
This could be our tomb, mate.
Fuck.
Hey, maybe that might be just what we need to get out.
I guess so.
Thanks.
No need scraping that mug of yours tonight.
Perimeter's been compromised. I'll head to the bunkers. You go to the hangar and get those birds airborne.
Alright.
So of course that involves going through there, with all the toxic-looking green smoke and smog.
Well, we'll have to just, go get on our way either, very nice and easy, because, all the fart gas.
What hole did you rats crawl out of?
I love how nonchalant this man is about nearly being eaten alive.
Again, like I said, we're trying to also recreate the badass type of, war hero, the one that has a couple of quick one-liners, and doesn't have fear in the face of enemy in the danger. Which, like I said, kind of fits with what it was mentioned, the fact that after his brother died, Grayson, became very bitter and went on a rampage of destroying conversion centers, basically a Rambo,
Yeah, honestly, I can dig this. So I think I get it. So slowly but surely the green smog will go away. So basically,
yeah, basically, keep defeating the enemies as they arrive.
Bloody reeks in here.
Oh, there's a health repack up close. He just nonchalantly kicks a wall. What a badass.
Alright, a new weapon, the IWO-R chain gun. An airplane cannon converted into infantry use. Press and hold the R button to wind up the barrel and fire the large capacity cannon. Press the L button to deploy a portable shield that blocks all enemy fire except for Auger rifle. A meter in the lower right corner of the screen indicates the shield's remaining time. Again, it's a bit similar to the minigun of 2, but, it's a bit more satisfying. And it doesn't really slow you down that much, so I'm actually kind of impressed. That being said, yeah, I think it's best if I use the auger for this.
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah, with the amount of health I have.
I'll give it this. I don't think I've ever really seen much other weapons like the Ogre in almost any other shooter game. It's a... Okay.
It's relatively inventive. Again, it's such a simple concept. The idea of an energy weapon that can actually phase through, not only phases through the cover, but with each object that it passes as the bullet becoming more powerful as it goes on. That's kind of neat, ideally.
I'm actually surprised other games didn't try to crib off that a bit. I mean, I guess if there is a weapon that is representative of this series, it's definitely the Ogre. Kind of like
a bit more the bullseye, but yeah, I get it. I get also what you mean.
It's kind of
It's just that the Ogre has a better ability. The bullseye is a bit more iconic because it's something that you get. It's kind of like the traditional Lancer in Gears. There technically are better weapons with better capabilities, but it's very iconic in terms of design and presence.
I guess for me, I just consider the Ogre to be the more unique and recognizable weapon. I mean, not to say that the bullseye ain't that, but I feel like the Ogre is definitely a lot more unique in a sense.
It's also kind of like the laser cutter in that space. It's your starting weapon, and it's basically consequentially the more simple. But because you're able to potentially finish the entire game with it, it's very appealing. Okay. Good to know.
Wow. Well, those NPCs didn't die, so kudos.
Well, that's what we need to find them out.
Oh yeah,
hello there.
But yeah, I legit thought the cutscene was going to end with suddenly something shooting them off screen and their bloody chunks shooting back out the tunnel. Don't waste too much time because there's not even really a death animation, really, and it looks like.
Well, no, Grayson just spins like Crash Bandicoot and it drops on the ground.
Beautiful.
Whoa.
You know, again, you know, a game that's willing to give nice and unique death scenes it's a nice extra layer. It's kind of like, you know, in Ace Attorney 6 now.
But you say that, but it's kind of like one of the detracting things from Tomb Raider 2013.
Well, okay. Here's the difference. With Crash Bandicoot, those are funny and, you know, usually not too overlong and overplayed. Tomb Raider, on the other hand... Yeah, no, it was way too gruesome. And mind you, Tomb Raider is nothing new to gruesome deaths, but those ones managed to make the classics look tame by comparison.
I get the idea, maybe the thought process... Hold on.
Without power, it's lights out for everyone.
Why the fuck not?
Damn you.
There you go, Joe. Now we're dead.
Well, that's what you get for bashing something you don't know.
Especially with 50s technology.
What?
Like, it might be very explosive.
But that's weird. In past experiences with old Windows Vista, whacking the computer did the job just fine in getting it to work.
Remember, Joe, it's also what saves, partially saves the day in Armageddon, the Michael Bay movie. The fact that, you know, because it's the technology is made in Taiwan, you know, one of the token... you know, minority characters starts pummeling the shit out of it, and you know, it actually starts working.
Like, okay, believe it or not, that was actually a way to get some old computers working back in the day. I don't know if that's still the case nowadays, but...
TV Tropes calls it the percussion maintenance, but I don't really think it's... again, considering a lot of things these days are less mechanical and more, you know, software-based, I get it works only relatively.
Yeah, like, you know, now back in like the 90s and early 2000s, I'd say it was still mechanical enough to the point where, yeah, giving it a good bang could do it. And Lord knows, even if it didn't fix it, Windows Vista certainly had a lot of people banging on their computers.
Anyway, to mention, I think, again, the general problem that the dev scenes in Tomb Raider 2013 has been that I think the thought process was to recreate... not recreate, but, you know, to homage a lot of snuff movies that add the setting of tropical jungles, you know, stuff like, say, Cannibal Holocaust. The problem is that with the past that the franchise had of Tomb Raider, they really do feel out of place and basically a tone whiplash with what the franchise has been, and even with the game in itself. It's just... It's like, imagine if, you know, if Ubisoft started introducing them with in Far Cry with Far Cry 3. It just will feel really odd more than anything. All right, let's proceed forward. Hopefully, we can actually fix the place. Well, not that one, but the two were actually, you know, handling. But still, as Cartwright said, we need to actually help the VTOL actually, you know, move with a Maquis on them. So that also means probably reuniting with Mallery and Bouchard. Especially because, remember, Bouchard's father, you know, Doctor Bouchard, is actually in this complex, so we'll probably have to meet him as well. Small, you son of a... Oh, come on!
Almost.
Yeah, and that was the alternate ending for Jaws, right? He misses and gets eaten by the shark.
That's grim.
Been more realistic. Yeah, I know.
Which,
I'm
again...
I'm complaining about realism in a movie about a giant shark that can eat everything.
which is represented by a giant puppet. Look, I know that by the time the movie was made, it was amazing, but I think it's one piece of technology of practical special effect that kind of is aged poorly as time goes by.
I think
it's still more convincing than the shark from Deep Blue Sea.
Which is that one was CGI, so yeah.
Okay. Of the Jaws movie, I think the one with the best looking shark might be 2. 3, no, God no.
And 4 is just the puppetry. The puppet one for 4 was technically fine, but they used it so poorly.
Yes.
Well, look at the bright side. Still better than anything in Sharknado.
Well,
okay. When it comes to special effects in Sharknado, they're part of a joke. The idea that the premise is so absurd that even the special effects, make it look like something weird. And then again, it is the asylum at the end of the day. So of course I'm not expecting industrial light and magic.
Like basically, when it comes to Sharknado, the first Sharknado was like the movie equivalent of a shitpost. Like, they were not expecting that thing to really take off like it did. So, of course, when it did, I think they were commissioned by Sci-Fi to make a whole series, and, well, they became something to be celebrated because, yes, they were completely in on the joke.
And again, I saw basically all of them, and I can tell you they get more insane with each title, so yeah. Although I get the idea this actually led the Sci-Fi Channel to go into a bit of an identity crisis and start having, weird sci-fi themed movies that are really not particularly great. I forgot the name. No, Magnetis was something fictional made up. There was a movie about a Nazi super soldat that can actually, use electricity, and the CGI in that one is so bad.
Oh, good lord. Yeah, yeah, I think the issue was that they were trying to recapture the magic of Sharknado, which, for obvious reasons, did not take off. Heck, if I recall correctly, even Sharknado eventually petered out.
No. It actually was allowed to have a proper conclusion in anything, so I can tell you that, it basically went full circle.
Well, I guess to give them credit, for as much as a money potter Sharknado was, they had the sense to eventually end it.
Okay, that was really just cheap. It just literally leaped from a distance.
Yeah, that was jive. What are those little red things that recover your health exactly?
The Simbacks. Remember, Jova, they're the equivalent of the yellow tank from the main game, except in this case, they're just red. I don't know what to tell you because I guess it's because my health bar is red. I get the idea the thought process was, since the environment would be a lot of time gray or yellow or brown, the yellow health bar might not be very visible. So as a result, let's make it red so it's a more contrast. Oh, check this out.
Okay.
Very nutty with Mallery.
Yeah, he deserved that.
2, hold on.
What's that one for?
Where's Bouchard? Are you trying to ditch again? In inopportune time for a murder, Grayson.
It's ironic that Grayson, of all people, is lecturing them about desertion now.
You? Your brother's jacket hardly makes you a pilot.
Do you really have to keep going after his brother like that?
Mallery really embodies the stereotype of a French jerk for no reason. Hold on. 3.
And that's for my brother.
Hold on.
Because you're a frog.
Hashtag quality writing.
Oof. 1950.
Frog?
Okay.
Remember,
because he's French.
Yeah. Now that is some actual French
it.
derogatory stuff. Again, to be fair, it's the 50s.
The same way Germans will be referred as Krauts instead. But still, again, Mallery does absolutely nothing to try to reason with Grayson. The two can really not stand out. I'm like, guys, I don't really think it's the time to do this.
Okay.
Yeah, you're kind of doing the enemy's work for them.
Okay. I will say this. For as much a jerk as Grayson is, Mallery really does just ignite crap. And again, he keeps going after Grayson's brother in the matter. even if Grayson's a jerk, no need to bring his dead brother into it, pal.
No, it's very deliberate. He basically does this probably to, you know, to provoke. Which, like, and like I said, we really don't have the time to do this because there's an alien invasion that fucked over most of Europe.
Okay,
so
if I'm to be fair to the writing, I think this is supposed to be emblematic of, you know, French and British relations in the 1950s, 40s.
That is true, but again, the circumstances are so that we kind of need to put those aside, you know, for that, because again, the situation is just that desperate. Again, it's what they were trying to do was probably what I'm guessing the you know, the idea that, for example, Final Fantasy XIII was also trying to have. The idea that, you know, the party that you form, the group of people that are supposed to save the world, are a bunch of people that normally will actually not like each other and have to literally, you know, overcome their differences in order to unite as a team. The problem is that in this case, you know, there is no time for this kind of thing because the enemy is just that pressing, you know. It's kind of a bit the thing that we encountered in Gears 4 when the president, the vice president with her drone that constantly gets, you know, run over by things, you know, constantly tries to be in the way of Marcus, you know, son and his team, when there really is no real reason since the locals are coming back. Thankfully, they seem to have, they did got that by the time of 5, even if there are still, you know, a bit of animosity. At the very least, there is not any more of that, but still.
Okay. If I'm to
I'd like to mention... Sorry.
If I'm to be fair, as stupid as it is, sometimes people will just act like that, like, you know, I ain't fighting with you or whatnot, which was, okay, to be fair, one could argue that World War II was not a place to be having, you know, racial disparages and whatnot, but sadly there still was.
The Allies had to team up with the Soviets, people they immediately regretted, you know, doing after war because the necessity was that big.
Yeah. That being said, even within some own regiments, there was still, like, racial divides, so sadly
I know that, Jova. You want to hear a bit of a story from my country from World War II for funsies?
Yeah.
When the Allies arrived to free here, not many people really liked it for a couple of reasons that I will not elaborate because it will be too much of a story. Again, very long story short, the actual partisans here in my country were kind of put aside and most of the credit was given to the Allies. But there was one division that actually had more sympathy for us. The Brazilians. The one division that the Americans were actually not liking.
The Brazilians.
Yeah.
Wow, that... You know, that sometimes life really does write itself into the jokes, doesn't it? You were saying, Pedro?
Just to mention quickly, for this sequence, you have to free the rooftop of the VTOL hangar, and afterward, you will see in a second a VTOL will emerge with Mallery on it, and it becomes an escort mission. Yes, really, you will see in a second. Go on, Pedro.
Interesting. I'd like to mention that just unintentionally proved my point with the Gears 4 and 5 cast. He only remembers JD as Marcus's son. He didn't even remember his name.
Pedro, it's been a while and you know that I forget names regularly. Anyway, does anyone remember that level in Bugs Bunny Lost in Time where you need to throw the instant Martian onto Marvin's airship? It's kind of the reverse. You have to try to shoot away these leaf skulls when they're attaching to the VTOL.
Interesting.
At some point.
Yeah, you know, I am surprised we haven't tackled that game for the channel yet, actually.
We were supposed to, but things got in the way.
Right, I think that may have been from, like...
Very early on, yes,
yeah,
a lot of years ago. It would be nice if it was released, but the rights are a bit skeevy, as in, you know, since it's Looney Tunes stuff, it's about for Warner Bros. But the game was done by Infogrames, so that would mean current Atari, which...
Ugh.
So I don't even know if the two companies can, you know, have to work together, or Warner Bros. Can strong arm its way. Thankfully, the game is really easy to emulate anyway, so that's staying itself not a problem. But as usual, it would be nice to have an official release. Anyway, if you're noticing, this escort mission is kind of a bit, you know, you can cut it very close because these leaf skulls are very are a lot, and they constantly try to, you know, to sabotage the beetle, which again makes me wonder why Mallery is not raising the fuck up. You're telling me that these sleep skulls are too heavy, making the thing too heavy to actually raise? Come the fuck on.
Not only that, my dude, you're right in the vicinity of the place. Shouldn't you be trying to help us? Because I feel like if they swarm it, you're next.
He's the one piloting. Remember, he mentioned in the cutscene that he was the one that was needing to do it.
In her last contact, she was heading to the communications center.
I'm still inside. I'll find Parker.
I'd love to wait for you, Tommy. But they need me at the LZ.
Big surprise, Molly. You better not be there when I arrive.
That is, if you arrive. The comm center...
He's sounding like the villain now.
Take the service elevator.
I would like to remind you that this was a couple of years before Sly Thieves in Time, where Nolan North had to voice Le Paradox. Again, another villain with a French accent, so it was a bit unintentional. But you heard that right. Next part, we're actually gonna rescue Parker from her predicament, because she's still stuck there, and also check on Dr. Bouchard. So see you for that.
See ya.
See ya.